And welcome back. We
Bienvenidos
are,
nuevamente.
Roxana, I'm hearing you.
Oh, can you just give me the rights to record
Yeah,
in this computer, please? No.
the interpretation.
Yes, the
Okay.
interpretation. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
I need to shut you off and
And
start
at
your.
the end of the class, dear Lama, can you please give me the first questions that I'm supposed to?
I didn't
The,
write it down. I'm sorry.
okay.
So now I've recorded the previous part. So I
Oh,
will send this email so you can look into the video. So I
thank you,
process it.
Victor.
Yeah,
Thank you, Victor.
it will come.
Thank you.
Roxana, I can't get it to go off to change.
Okay,
Ah,
then
there I did. There I
you.
did. Got it. Got it. Wait, wait, wait. Okay. See if it works this time. There we go. Okay. All right. Welcome back. We are ACI 11, Class 10, February 13th, 2026. Let's gather our minds here as we usually do. Please bring your attention to your breath until you hear from me again. Now bring to mind that being who for you is a manifestation of ultimate love, ultimate compassion, ultimate wisdom, and see them there with you. They are gazing at you with their unconditional love for you, smiling at you with their holy great compassion. Their wisdom radiates from them, that beautiful golden glow encompassing you in its light. And then we hear them say, bring to mind someone you know who's hurting in some way. Then I'm still hearing you. There we go. I have it now. Had it on the wrong channel. Think about how that are the worldly ways we try fall short. How wonderful it will be when we can also help in that deep and ultimate way, a way through which they will go on to stop their distress forever. Deep down, we know this is possible. Learning about emptiness and karma, we glimpse how it's possible. And so I invite you to grow that wish into a longing. And that longing into an intention. And with that intention, we turn our minds back to our precious holy being. We know that they know what we need to know, what we need to learn yet, what we need to do yet to become one who can help this other in this deep and ultimate way. And so we ask them, please, please teach us that. And they are so happy that we've asked. Of course, they agree. Our gratitude arises. We want to offer them something exquisite. And so we think of the pure world they are teaching us how to create. We imagine we can hold it in our hands. And we offer it to them, following it with our promise to practice what they teach us, using our refuge prayer to make our promise. Here is the great earth, filled with fragrant incense and covered with the blanket of flowers. The great mountain, 4 lands, wearing the jewel of the sun and the moon. In my mind, I make them the paradise of a Buddha and offer it all to you. By this deed, may every living being experience the pure world. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kanirya Tayami. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may all beings totally awaken for the benefit of every single other. All right. So we're still studying the Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life chapter on meditation, the perfection of meditation, technically. And surprisingly, that chapter is not about how to meditate. It's about what to meditate on, the object of our meditation. And his premise is, let's meditate on a powerful karmic object. I mean, that was Master Kamalashila's position in teaching teaching a meditation practice that will move us along our spiritual path, as opposed to giving us worldly benefits, which it will also do. So it's not one or the other. So then, surprisingly, Master Shantideva says, use our meditation cushion time to investigate this practice called equalizing and exchanging self and others. And so we've been exploring that. We explored the equalizing self and others to crank up our concern for any pain, any suffering we see in the world, to have the same concern for it as we have for our own pain and concern. And then we've been exploring this exchanging self and others idea. And I don't know about you, but as I hear myself talk about these things, I also hear the part of me that says, no way. Like, I'll get taken advantage of. I'll never get my needs met, right? It's too big. I can't do that. And then there's the other part of me that goes, oh, how beautiful it would be if I could do that. And my mind swings, right, between those two. And then I get out in my world with other people. And, in little bitty places, I can find myself like actually it popping into my mind. And then there's just a shift in the energy between us. It's not really that I interact with them all that much differently because, I'm kind. I try to not hurt people's feelings. Right? I already am being nice to people, and so are all of you. So these last couple of classes about exchanging self and others, I hear it, I'm inspired, and I also feel criticized by Master Shantideva, and it hurts. And so it's hard not to like hear these classes and go, ooh, he's seeing into me and pointing out my faults, and then a part of me wants to run away and not be exposed, and the other part that says no, okay, right, I see a world where this is happening. I understand enough about it being coming from my own seeds that I'm willing to say, okay, I I have been that selfish. There's seeds in me that I could be that again. So I'm willing to try a little harder to consider, even just consider that what he's teaching us is a powerful practice, the end result of which will be not just my own happiness, but the happiness of the entire existence. And there's a big leap between those two, my happiness and all happiness. But that's where he's trying to open this window that we can peek through and see, oh my gosh, I really am capable of bringing about that all happiness and actually understand enough how to do it that part of me at least is eager to be able to do it. So I hope I can leave you with that at the end of today's class. So last class, we ended or close to ended with those verses in which Master Shantideva is pointing out the source of all pain and the source of all happiness. Those verses that says the total amount of happiness that exists in the world has come from wanting to make others happy. Just wanting. The total amount of suffering that exists in the world has come from wanting to make myself happy. What need is there for many words? The children of the world work for their own sake. The able Buddhas do their labor for the sake of others. Come and see the difference. So Master Shantideva has taken us in his verses through to this place. And he goes on, and Gyaltsabje in his commentary is pointing out that in these next verses, Master Shantideva is pointing out the problems that come to us if we don't do this exchanging self with others. And he's going to point out that there are problems that come to us that we don't recognize, and there are problems that come to us that we can recognize. So by recognize, he means that the problems, we have problems that, all right, things that don't happen to us that could happen to us, good things that happen, good things that could happen to us don't happen to us as a result of not exchanging ourselves for others. And then, which are things that we don't recognize. We don't even recognize that they could happen, but they aren't happening because we're not exchanging self and others. It's a little twisted up, right? And then there are things that happen that we do see as a result of not exchanging self and others. So that's where we're going next. Problems that we don't even know we have, let alone don't know that they come from not exchanging self and others. Wait, before I go there, I want to show you some vocabulary. Sorry, wrong one. These two words is what I want you to see. Rong che in zin comes out as rong chenzin. Rong means self. Chenzin means this holding as most important. So rong chenzin is the word for self-cherishing. Shen means other. So shen chenzin is other cherishing. And this is the pair of opposites that we're talking about in this class. Self-cherishing versus other cherishing. Self-cherishing means I believe in myself as this thing that exists in such a way that its needs, its wants are the most important thing. And then I can turn my concern over to others. Once this one's needs are met, things are okay, at that point, I can turn my concern over to others. Shenchenzin is this state of mind, state of heart, where the other is actually not more important. We recognize, our wisdom recognizes that to consider that other with that same sense of cherishing that we have for ourselves means that we will actually cherish the opportunity to take care of them, to help them. So it isn't really an exchanging. I become unimportant. They're the only thing that is important. It's more expanding our self-cherishing to include them, and then recognize that the way karma works, shows me that if I care for them first, that's where this one gets cared for. So we're trying to weave that into our understanding from, oh, take me, get me out of the way, take care of only them. When we try to do that prematurely, we end up being resentful and we feel taken advantage of, and it goes wrong, of course. When we are doing our other cherishing from our growing wisdom, we're eager to do it. We want to do it. It's not a me versus them thing at all. And we can kind of see how the equalizing self and others was a necessary stairway to reaching this level where we can hear about the exchange, which in the end we're going to see is about expanding our sense of self, which is similar to what we did in the equalizing. So let's go to the verses. Now let me get us over here. Make us bigger. There. Now I have everybody. Okay, so here are the problems that we don't see when we continue to be self-cherishing and fail to cultivate our other cherishing. If we fail to practice perfectly this exchange of my own happiness with the suffering of others, I will never reach that enlightenment. And even here in the cycle of life, there is no happiness. So if we are on our spiritual path and we're just not seeing any progress, or even in just this worldly life, we're not getting the happiness that we want or we expect, he says it's a result of the failure to do this exchange of cherishing others for myself. In the past, we've failed to other cherish, which is why now we're not getting these results that we want. But it's not even we're not getting results that we want. That's why we see ourselves in the circumstances that we ourselves see ourselves in. Forget the goals of the world beyond, even in this life. Even in this life, none of the things we hope to achieve will come about. Those whose duty it is to serve you will do none of their work, and those masters you serve will never pay. So he's saying, we are in the situation we are in, if we are in the situation that I'm not making the progress I want, either worldly life or otherwise. He says we don't realize that it's because in past times we put ourselves first always. We're reaping the result of that now. Kongli, can I have you keep your questions till the end? Because I'm already running behind. Is that all right? Okay, thanks. Geshe says there are many people who never meet the Dharma in their whole life or never meet any kind of spiritual teaching. And there are others who have met the Dharma and are interested in it, but there are too few teachers or the centers are too far away. They don't have access. And there are others who've met the Dharma and have access and are even working with the Dharma practicing, but after many, many years are getting frustrated and disappointed and bored. And there are those who suffer from this problem of self-cherishing. And that category of beings are the ones who are dead, right? It's too late for them. That all these categories of beings, they have the same obstacle. And that obstacle is that they didn't understand the necessity for making this exchange from cherishing myself to cherishing others. And most likely none of them recognized that that was the underlying problem. Because it isn't something that we would sit down and go, how come my life is like that? Oh my gosh, I'm just a selfish slob. Like it won't occur to us because our belief in self-existent me is so strong. It doesn't let us figure it out. The power of teachers, right? Our karmic seeds are ripening to have teachers point out something that we won't think through. Most of us, some brilliant people do, but mostly we can't figure it out. Then when we hear, oh, self-cherishing, other cherishing, that's the key. It does not mean we are to impulsively go and give everything away because suddenly everybody else's needs are more important than ours, and everything I have I can use for them, which is the conclusion he's going to come to. But we don't do it until our perception is that like that's what I'm meant to do and be. We rather push ourselves with carrots and potatoes, small little daily efforts at increasing the little ways that we care about others with the same intensity we care about our own needs. And then sorry, I took too deep a breath. And then act in some small way to bring them some small happiness, understanding that's where all happiness for all world comes from. So we can learn to keep our Bodhisattva focus clear and cultivate these opportunities for some big Bodhisattva deed, but not until the timing is just right, but rather focus on our little Bodhisattva efforts, being careful not to get complacent at a certain level so that we don't just spin our wheels at that level. We won't do that. When we are consciously, intentionally trying to overcome our self-conscious, self-cherishing, and consciously, intentionally trying to wisely put others first, that change in our mental seeds is a really, really powerful shift from what we've always done before. And any previous other cherishing that we've done, which we've all done, will be fed, will be added to, right? And that's what kicks off this momentum of these changes happening. It starts this upward spiral. He's not saying, look, our own needs are not important. He's saying, let's understand where getting our own needs met actually comes from, right? We can try and try and try and get our own needs met, and maybe we can't do it. That's because we don't have the seeds from helping others get their needs met. So no matter what we do, ours don't get met. Now, for us, our needs do get met. I'm making that assumption based on the fact that you are here with me in these classes. If none of our needs were getting met, we would be out scrounging through the trash heap looking for food. We would not be here. So I know your needs are met. And we know that the reason our needs are met is because we've helped others meet their needs. We understand that's where it all comes from. But then if we didn't know that, we just assume, oh, it's because of my own weird goodness, my own capacity. Of course my needs get met. And then our minds push us into, now I want my wants to be met. And I use the same tools with which I get my needs met to get my wants met. And that usually means me, right? Me and my needs at the expense of others, not in mean, nasty, awful ways, but in subtle ways that is driven by our misunderstanding of where things actually come from, right? So it's like, I know I'm spiraling around saying the same thing over and over, but it's because like we want to get to the crux of why he's saying, let's cultivate other cherishing without misunderstanding and thinking, oh, myself is not worthy, not worthy of getting its needs met. No, he's not saying that. The way our needs get met is by other cherishing. So in the past, we have done it. Have we been doing it in this lifetime enough to perpetuate a lifetime where our needs are met? Even met so effortlessly that we could naturally turn our self onto getting others' needs met. I mean, if we were infinitely wealthy, wouldn't we just spend our time going around and doing what we could for anybody else? Because we had infinite resources, we wouldn't have to go, ooh, if I give this away, what am I going to have? Right? We talked about that last class. So the problems that we don't see that come from not self-cherishing is that we don't make spiritual practice and we don't even get our needs met or find happiness in the things that we do in this life. And we don't see that comes from self-cherishing. We don't see that to overcome it, we would practice other cherishing. Okay? Okay. So somebody says, well, look, if the only reason I'm putting others ahead of myself is so that myself can get some benefit, isn't that just more subtle self-cherishing? And Gyaltsab Geshe Michael points out that yes, that would be true. That if our understanding of emptiness of self and other is not colored with our bodhicitta, the wish to reach total enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings. And we decide, because of the emptiness of me, I'm going to practice this other cherishing so that I can be assured that this life, right, I will get the wealth I want, I will get the healthcare I want, I will get the things I want. That would be using our other cherishing for a personal goal. Even if we use it to reach nirvana, right? We are using it to reach a personal goal, spiritual goal. He says, you're right, that you could say is really not other cherishing at all. It's still self-cherishing. Says, however, when we are doing our other cherishing in order to help that other being ultimately someday, then we're using our emptiness understanding for this higher purpose, and our own benefit will be a side effect of our other cherishing. So our motivation of always holding our bodhicitta in mind is an additional factor in why we are choosing to try to push ourselves into this exchanging shift to other cherishing from self-cherishing. I think that the point there is that if our self, as our belief in our self-existent me is getting chipped away at, the struggle between between self-cherishing and other cherishing fades, because we only have the struggle between the two because we misunderstand. And as our misunderstanding decreases, our understanding shows us that no, all those others are opportunities, not conflicts. So we're getting glimpses of that, I hope, as we study Master Shantideva. So he goes on to say, every single harm that comes in this entire world, every fear that comes, and so too every pain that ever comes from grasping to myself. What use for me then is this, the single greatest demon? So the worst demon influence we have is this belief that because I am separate from you, I am separate from my seed ripening, my me is more important. Is our me important? Absolutely. But is it so important that harming another to get what it wants is worth it. Until the day that we give up our own self, we will not be able to stop the suffering. Until the day that we let go of fire, we will not be able to stop our hand from burning. So he says, it's as if we have a hot coal in our hand and we're screaming in pain. Make this pain stop. Make this pain stop. It hurts so much. Make this pain stop. But we won't let go of the coal. All we need to do is let go of the coal and put our hand in some cold water. And that pain will stop. Well, eventually. But that hot coal of self-cherishing is so overpoweringly powerful that we won't let go of it. It's like we can't let go of it. But until we do, we'll not be able to stop this cycle of suffering. It's really a graphic and harsh imagery, isn't it? My belief that there's a me that exists independent of any other factor makes this me need protection, need to get what it wants at all costs. That's the hot coal we're holding on to. We think, well, if I let go of my self-cherishing, who's going to take care of this thing? If I don't do it, who's gonna? Geshe-la's recurring theme is the best thing we can do for others is to do what we need to do to reach that path of ecstasy, they call it, to reach our own total enlightenment for the sake of all others is the way we bring happiness to those very others. And anything less than that is going to fail in the end. And yet when we hear that, it sounds like it's saying, okay, then I take this me that I'm still thinking exists some way independently, and I walk away from my family and I go practice the Dharma and do nothing else. And that's how I'm going to make them happy. And the problem with that is we need other beings in order to practice the Dharma. Like we can study the books, but never go out and interact with anybody. And studying the books won't make a whole lot of difference in this lifetime. We can study and then we can practice. And we practice amongst those other beings that we think are interfering with our ability to study. And then we find this balance, right, between the time it takes to learn the practices and doing the practices with the others, and we negotiate with our families for the time by serving them, right? Being really attentive to caring for them when we are with them. And so building in the goodness that suddenly is them saying, look, don't you need an hour to yourself first thing in the morning or last thing before night? I'll take care of everything during that hour. You go sit. You know, we don't have to beg for it. We don't have to negotiate it. We create it. The way that bliss comes to us is by giving away little happinesses every chance we get. And it's a little funny to say it that way. If I have happiness, is it something that I can reach into myself and, right, give to Pia? Here, Pia, have some of my happiness. Like, wouldn't that be easy? Just stand on the street corner and like, here, here, here. But it doesn't work like that. The way it works is, you take coffee to a coworker, just surprise them. Of course, you need to know whether they like coffee, and we would want to know what kind they like. But even if, like, suppose there was somebody that you know them, they're not close necessarily, but you know them, and they walk in one day with a cup of coffee, and they say, "Look, I thought of you this morning. I got this for you." And maybe you don't really even like coffee, but doesn't it feel good to know that, oh my gosh, they thought of me and they thought highly enough of me to buy me a cup of coffee? Now, selfish me would go, "Oh, thank you. That's so nice, but I don't drink coffee." Right? And that deflates the whole thing. Or I might say, I would have preferred tea. Yeah, nice, right? There are habitual ways that our self-cherishing me overrides this kindness that they did. Just trying. It's sweet for them to have tried. So we turn it around and it's like, okay, I can do that for somebody. And then all the more powerful if before I do it, I get to know them a little bit as to whether they like tea or coffee, or whether they like daisies versus daffodils. But more important than getting them exactly what they like is just thinking about them and acting, demonstrating that we cared. Because we know it feels good when somebody does that. Mm. And in doing so, for someone else, we set this little example. And so maybe someday it will occur to them to do something similar for somebody that they know. And then we can do the same thing with our smile to the grumpy bus driver, right? Or our paying attention to the checkout clerk at the grocery when everybody else just, right, expects her to be fast and be accurate. Little ways that we share a little happiness with somebody. Is the checkout clerk necessarily going to brighten up and say thank you? She might be grumpy and be grumpy back. That doesn't negate our effort to pay a little extra attention. It reflects times when somebody was being kind to me and I was grumpy back. We have this ability to turn our concern onto others and cherish their need, their want, their happiness more than our own, understanding that's where our own comes from. Right? Whose pleasure was greater when that person brings me the cup of coffee? Mine or theirs? Right? I don't know. Both had pleasure. One was planting seeds for more pleasure, pleasurably planting seeds for more pleasure. I was ripening seeds from past having done so. Right? So technically, the one who's doing the pleasure giving is getting the bigger advantage because theirs is going to grow. Oh, so now I want to be that one. I want to be the one who's given the little bits of happiness to others. Then he goes on to say, it's something very wrong to look with eyes belonging to another and to work only for my own goals. It's wrong as well to look with eyes working for them and do something that's not right. That's so confusing. What is it about looking with our eyes? I'll get back to it. Therefore, I should make all other people first priority. And anything that I ever find upon my person, I should take away from me and seek some way to make a use of it for other people. Let me see if that's the end. Yeah. Mm. So Geshe-la explained that just after we have this heart-opening experience of bodhicitta, seeing the face of every existing being and loving them, we have this shift in our perspective towards knowing that we will spend every instant of forever serving all of those beings to bring them both worldly and ultimate happiness. And we're happy to do that, to be that. And so suddenly our perspective of our being is that we are everyone's servant. That technically everything about me and my life and my things is about tools that I have to help those others. And so suddenly all the things that I thought I owned, I realize I'm just in charge of them for now. I'm their caretaker for now. So that as soon as I come across the one to whom they are actually meant, I will instantly give them away. It's like, here, I've been keeping this for you. Here, right? Take it, use it. That's for you. Like there's this attitude shift from, no, this is mine. This is me. This is what I need because I might need it in the future for something, even when I might need it in the future for somebody else, but it's still mine to use in that way. After our bodhicitta, that bodhicitta, we'll have this sense, no, it's all waiting for me to use it for somebody else, to actually give it to somebody else. He's saying even the clothes on our back is just, I'm carrying it around, waiting to see if its real owner shows up. And when they do, just rip it off and hand it over. And it's like, come on, how often do you have the opportunity where you come across somebody who doesn't have socks and you're wearing socks and your mind goes, oh, wait, I have your socks for you. Take them off, hand them over. My mind goes, you got to be nuts. That's never going to happen. Even if I did, they'd probably go, no thanks. Your dirty socks, I don't want them. It's this attitude that I'm this tool for everybody else. And again, our self-cherishing, self-grasping me goes, what, are you nuts? But then this other part of me goes, whoa, how wonderful that would be to be so free of this need to keep and hold and protect. Right? It's not saying give it all away, now go live under a bridge. Bodhisattvas need stuff to be able to help others. It's the attitude towards this stuff. It's just waiting. We have it. It's waiting for where it can be used the most effectively. And then when we meet that, it's such a relief, right? Of getting that thing to its proper owner. I think I've told you the story before that when we were going into retreat, we had just a few very favorite things. And we made the effort to think of someone we knew who had equal taste, who might like that thing. And so we very specifically gave certain things to certain people with, in my mind, a like, done, given away. And then we get out of retreat. And most of those things, those people, they go out of their way to give us those things back. And it's like, I don't want them. I don't want them, right? But no, okay, thank you very much. It's like we thought we had found those things new homes, but in fact, we hadn't. I just thought it was funny. Mm. Let's take our break. Okay, are we back? So this idea that, or this feeling that, oh man, everything I have is really stuff here for me to use to help others. It goes for our time as well. And when we're in the position where somebody, asks us to do something for them, and we feel like, well, that's too much, I'm too busy to do that. And he says, the one who's had this bodhicitta feeling, they recognize that this person who has asked for our help is just actually being polite, that they could have just ordered me to do it, because in fact, I am their servant, right? I am there to serve them. And if I'm doing other stuff that's just my stuff and they need me to help them, they could just say, do this. But they're being polite and requesting my assistance. Why don't I just eagerly jump to help them instead of being resentful or saying, can you wait until I'm done with what I'm doing? I have this with Sumati often. And then it goes for our bodies as well. Somebody steps on our foot and we get so offended, or bump into us, on the bus, and, leave me alone, pay more attention to me. And it's like, no, even our bodies are tools for us to serve them. If there was some need for them to step on my foot, somehow I help them stay balanced. That our self-cherishing, self-grasping gets resentful. Our bodhisattva state of heart is, any way I can serve you. Like I think of the little Maitri, like learning how to be a puppy dog in Chris's family, and it's still struggling with its little self-cherishing and he's gonna, right, learn his manners, and he's gonna find his place, and then all he's gonna want to do is make Chris and her husband happy, and he's gonna figure out ways to do that. When I wag my tail like this, they go, oh, look how special. So I'm going to wag my tail a lot. When I do this, they go, I'm going to do less of that, right? This little dog's going to learn how to serve its masters, right? And he's going to want to do it constantly. That's how wonderful dogs are, right? How can I make you happy? How can I make you happy? Wouldn't it be fun? Like to have that attitude towards people, but as humans with the capacity. That's this idea. Uh, but we don't, right? We can't do it when our self-existent me self-cherishes me. And Master Shantideva, the thing about all those eyeballs, it's like our habit is when somebody somehow interferes or is trying to control us in some way, our facial expression shows it, right? We roll our eyes, and he's saying, you Bodhisattva, I want to reach my total enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings. And somebody I don't like wants me to do something for them, and I go, you gotta be nuts, and I go do it. Says, come on, right? That is not bodhisattva attitude. So don't roll your eyes at people when they ask you to do something. You are the servant. Geshe-la said, you know what? That was the fine print in your bodhisattva vows. Didn't you read the fine print? When we took our bodhisattva vows, we were swearing to be servants of the world. When we finish our ACI, if you want, we do a Marok ceremony. It's where you like defend your thesis. And Marok means servant of the world. You know, you get that label on your name, like, you know, Sarani Stump, PAC, Certified Physician Assistant, Sarani Stump, Marok, servant of the world. But then that means we need to behave like a servant of the world, not go out and go, no, I'm servant of the world. You help me. Oops. So it really is a beautiful term. And yet our own like ego goes, what are you nuts? You know, I finished my ACI, I'm special. It's like, yeah, you are. And now everybody's more important. It's really slippery and hard and worth it. So next, he goes on to the methods of the actual exchange. And I find this so beautiful. Geshe calls it Bodhisattva schizophrenia. Make those who are inferior to you, and so on, be yourself. Make yourself now none other than the others. Practice this with a state of mind that is free of ideas, the feelings of jealousy, competitiveness, and pride. I so admire that Geshe was able to translate this. It sounds cryptic, but I imagine the Tibetan and the Sanskrit was way more cryptic. Yeah, okay. So here's what's being explained. When self-existent, believing me meets another person, we automatically do this assessment. Is this other higher than me? Are they equal to me? Or are they lower than me? And then hot on those heels, we have a feeling towards them. And then hot on the heels of that feeling towards them, we decide on a like a relationship and activity, a way of being towards them. And so this exchange starts with recognizing that we're doing that, and then recognizing as we're doing it, and then learning how to imagine that you are inside the experience of the other, experiencing you acting towards them, so that you are aware of how you are behaving and what it feels like to be the recipient of you. Do you get it? We can't do it while we're interacting with them. We do it on our meditation cushion or our contemplating time. Gee, what's that like? What's that like? What's that like? And then we grow this ability to have a greater sense of awareness in real time of how to not knowing exactly how they're experiencing me, but being concerned with how they might be experiencing me, so that how I'm letting myself interact with them will try harder for their experience of me to be pleasant and effective. It's implying that ordinarily we just interact with others, not really caring so much how we affect them, but rather caring about whether we get our point across, our needs across. Now, on the pendulum swing of somebody really, really, really selfish, here in the United States, we have some prime example of that daily in the news. And then maybe we've got some examples of how extraordinarily other cherishing someone could be. And then we've got, right, our me in the middle, swinging between mostly being polite. We've learned how to be polite, and we are polite, mostly because we were taught to be polite. The reason we're polite is because we're supposed to care about our impact on other people. And then when we're polite and they're rude back, we have this idea, well, it doesn't really pay to be polite. So I'm going to be more careful around that person because they're not polite. Right. And it's all driven by our misunderstanding that then we're willing to not be polite when we think we need to not be polite to protect ourselves. So I'm not saying a bodhisattva is always polite no matter what. I'm saying that we are wisely using what it is to be polite because we already know how to do it, probably. So we have these three very habitual states of mind that come up when we are in the presence of other. When they are higher than us. So we can see someone higher than us and we can be happy about it. And when we are, we behave respectfully around them. Like we enjoy having a little bit of their time, a little bit of their attention. And then, of course, we are careful with our behavior because we don't want to do anything that we think would make them think badly of us because we respect their opinion of us. So we're kind of on our best behavior, in a sense. And then we can be with someone who's equal to us. And maybe that equalness gives me a sense of partnership. And wow, we can work together to really achieve something better than what I could do by myself or you could do by yourself. And right, we can work together. And it grows a sense of mutual admiration. Or we can find ourselves in a position where we're with someone that we see as lower in some way. And we can have the sense, oh, my mother used to say, but for the grace of God, go I, and have compassion and want to help that other in some way. Or we can be in the presence of someone we see higher and we can resent it and feel jealous. And as a result of that, we let ourselves grossly or subtly interfere in some way with their success or progress or whatever the situation is, because our own feeling lesser by way of their higher wants to assert itself to ourselves in some way and bring them down. We call that jealousy and acting from jealousy. If we do this exchange thing with this person that we feel jealous of, and we're interacting with them is the way I'm interacting with them in any way revealing my jealousy or interfering with their happiness? Is a jealous person very likely to go to that person that they see higher and sing that person's praises to them? Wow, you're so wonderful. Like, I so admire how you can manage that meeting when everybody's arguing with each other. If I'm jealous of them, I'm more likely to say, you could have done a better job in that meeting and not let it get so out of hand. But if we put ourselves in the other person's position, are we gonna let our jealousy come through? Right? Hopefully not, is the idea. And we would recognize, oh, my jealousy is just gonna make things worse for me. We could be in the equal position. And rather than feeling, oh, this is partnership material, we get competitive. Now, there's positive competitive and there's negative competitive. I'm talking here about the negative competitive, where because we're equal, my ego wants me to get the one up. And so I'm willing to do something again to somehow push them down so that I can look better to myself or to the others. And then the exchange would be, if we can be aware enough of those feelings, we put ourselves into the other's position. What would that feel like to them if I do that? Oh, it's not pleasant. I don't want that happening to me ever. I won't do it. That's the exchange. Excuse me. I need a timeout. The third one, we're in the presence of someone lower. And instead of compassion, we're feeling this sense of, oh, I'm better. And pride comes up or arrogance comes up. And we tend to have this tone of voice that's telling them what to do or disrespectful of their needs or, right, somehow deprecating. And again, the exchange would be put myself in them, witness how I behave towards them, decide, is that pleasant or unpleasant? Right? Is that helpful to this other person or not? And then put yourself back in you and decide, is that the way I want to continue to be towards this other? I'm going to show you some vocabulary, please. Please forgive me for torturing you with this cough. Torturing me too. Traktok means jealousy. That feeling we get when we see somebody superior or having things that we want and we feel upset by it. Drensum is competitiveness. That state where we see others as pretty much equal to us, but we want to be better than them. Nagyal is the word for pride. It's the same word for divine pride. The pride that we will have as totally enlightened beings. And it's like, wait, how can you be prideful of being a totally enlightened being? So there's something special. I'm so sorry. Uh-uh. So there's something special about this state of mind pride that can be really, really negative and really, really, really positive. Here it's the negative one. The state of heart that comes up when we're in the presence of someone lower than us and we have this sense I'm better than them, which can be so automatic. Toa means respect. When we're in the presence of someone that we see as higher than us and we like it, we admire them, we are inspired by them, right? We have this feeling of respect, and our behavior gets better towards them. Nyampa, we learned before, it means equal. Where we're seeing someone equal to us, and our sense is, oh, together we can do better than either one of us alone. Let's work together. Yampa. And Mempa is compassion. To find ourselves in the presence of the one we see as lower. So that means maybe we could help them in some way. Right? That's compassion. How can I help? And to recognize that we're having jealousy, competitiveness, or pride towards another and decide, no, I'm going to treat them with respect. I'm going to treat them as a partnership. I'm going to treat them with compassion instead. That's exchanging self and others. So it's not deciding I'm nothing, they're everything. It's recognizing our automatic human ignorant reaction and deciding that's not the one I want to plant. That's not what I want to perpetuate. I want to perpetuate this this better me, this higher me. The only way I know to do that is to recognize that I'm doing the lesser me ones and then decide to change it. Right? So we're not really exchanging self for others. We're changing our behavior towards others. Pretty dramatically compared to our habit. self-cherishing habit. And in doing so, we are chipping away at our self-cherishing, the willingness to recognize, oh, I'm jealous towards this other person. How can I instead act towards them with respect? Even as something in me is going, you don't dare do that, right? But to make myself do something little that shows myself that I can act towards them respectfully instead of jealously. They don't know. They don't need to know. My own mind is watching, right? And my own seeds, my own light are watching. And the impact of planting a few seeds that are respectful instead of jealousy, like shakes up the whole thing because it's so different than our automatic pilot. And it's like, it's not so different for all of us. No doubt you can think of situations where, you recognized you were jealous and you just kept it and instead were polite. And maybe, when you go home at night, you go, a little resentful. But rather than resentful, we can be happy that we did it. Right now, with our growing wisdom, we won't even have the resentment. It'll be, wow, I overcame a little bit of jealousy today by praising that person in front of others when what I really wanted to do was point out their faults. So the commentary says there you could say that there are 6 things that every being really wants. These are the words kirti, nyepa, tupa, dewa, lemepe dewa, and drakpa. Kirti means respect, honor. Everybody wants to be treated with a little respect. Like, I guess technically even gnats and worms. Nyepa means everybody likes to receive little material things. Nyepa means receiving material things, like gifts. It's nice to receive a gift. It means somebody has thought enough about you to bring you something. Tupa means to be praised or complimented. It's pleasant for somebody to say something nice about us. Dewa is happiness, just plain old happiness. Everybody wants happiness. What they mean by happiness is unique to each of us. It's possible that what would make somebody happy would be for somebody to curse them out, right? Or praise them for how mean they are to their fellows. Like, I don't know, crazy stuff. Happiness is unique to each of us. Everybody wants it. Le mepe dewa. This is a weird one. Everybody wants the happiness of not having to be the one to do all the work. I don't relate to this one. I'd like to get up and do the dishes if it would make somebody happy. Although my dishes are sitting on the counter right now. But this is that sense of, if you're the one that has the leisure and others are carrying out the work, there's something pleasant about that, apparently. And then drakpa is fame. Everybody wants to be well known. So I don't think this fame means, your name is on billboards and that makes you really happy. But rather it means everyone who knows you thinks highly of you, right? Well known like that, to have a good reputation, drakpa. So if we could start from this assumption that everybody likes to be respected, receive nice things, be praised, have a little bit of moments of happiness, be the one who doesn't have to carry out the task, and be well thought of. How hard is it to go through my day and try to help somebody feel this? Any one or multiple ones of these 6. Can I treat the bus driver with a little respect and even praise them in some way? Same with the grocery clerk. Can I don't know, take flowers to the person at the office who cleans the office? Nobody pays attention to them. When I was a little girl, on Saturdays, my dad would take one of us kids to work with him on Saturdays. And so, every month or so, it would be my turn. And his building had an elevator. And in those days, you had an elevator attendant. There was a person who stayed in the elevator all day. And they're the one that wound the thing up and set it and, pushed the button. And I noticed even as a little kid that when people got in that elevator, they told the attendant where they had to go, and that's all they said. But my dad would say hi to the guy by name and ask him about his wife, right? And they would have this little conversation. And it was such that my dad didn't have to tell the guy where he needed to go, right? Because the guy knew that my dad worked on the 3rd floor. They just got in, they started this conversation. The guy dialed it to 3rd floor and took us there. And it was so different than the other person that got in the elevator who didn't pay attention to the person. And it just struck me. And now, like in retrospect, it's like, oh my gosh, like my dad was doing this stuff. Right, with the janitors in the hospital, he always asked them, about he took the 30 seconds to see them as people. And how hard is that for us to do? Make eye contact and smile at somebody at the grocery store. It's uplifting for both of us. It feels good. It feels good. Okay, let me go back. So really this learning to other cherish versus self cherish, it's not new to any of us. What we're wanting to bring to our polite, caring behavior is this increased understanding of the power of the mental seeds we're making as we do it, instead of just doing it out of being polite, out of being kind. We're being kind with wisdom, so that we're not just bringing an instant of happiness to somebody. We're planting in our minds and seeds in our minds for bringing about this whole transformation for every being's ultimate happiness. It seems a long way away for that result, but every little seed planted is adding to the other ones, and given the empty nature of now and now and now, that far away can shrink. These are the practices to make it shrink. So Geshe calls this the Bodhisattva talking to themselves. This one should receive the honor, but not us. So the us is the Bodhisattva. The other is the one who's with us. This one should receive the honor, not me. I should never get the things he always does. He should bask in praise. I should be belittled. He should have all happiness. I, the suffering. And it really sounds like he's saying, take yourself, Bodhisattva, and squash it and put everything ahead. And, it doesn't end up actually being like that in the way my mind's hearing it, that in order to put the other first, I have to squash me. Rather, the heart of the Bodhisattva is wanting to put the other first. And so naturally, I don't need the praise. And it's fine with me if the belittling that somebody's going to do to that other, that they can turn it on me, because that's fine with me, right? I will burn it off, use it up. I won't get my feelings hurt when somebody belittles me. That person's going to get their feelings hurt, and they'll get upset, and they'll perpetuate their suffering cycle. Belittle me, not them, is what we're thinking. Not because, oh, we're so bad, but because we're very happy to take it on and burn it off. Okay. The more we think like that, the less it's going to happen, though. Do you see? Because of the goodness of being the one who deflects it from somebody else. It's not like we can really make that happen. You're about to criticize somebody else. We step in between and go, criticize me instead, would you? Like, who's going to do that? I mean, the person you say, criticize me instead of him, would you? Is not going to go, okay, because I just want to criticize anybody. They're going to say, no, he's the guy that needs criticism. But the effort to do it puts seeds in our own mind. Even just thinking to do it. We should be the ones who have to do all of the work. We, the Bodhisattvas. He should sit in perfect leisure throughout the world. He should become the great man. We should stay inferior and known as knowing nothing. These are these 6 different things everybody wants. What's the use of having no good qualities? We'll all strive that they have them all. There do exist those compared to whom this one is inferior, and there are also those compared to whom we are the highest. The state of our morality, views, troubles, and the rest is forced by affliction and not by choice. Right? So recognizing I do have jealousy arising, That's a mental affliction, but I have the choice to act from it or not act from it. If I have the awareness that I'm having jealousy, right? I have the awareness to be able to choose. Not always, but as we try, in order to help others, we'll be able to be more aware, more able to make our conscious behavior choices. You must care for us by using all your strength, and we should too willingly take all the hurts. Are we not those someone you should care for? Why is it that you belittle us so? So Master Shantideva is pointing out here that there could be someone who professes to be a bodhisattva, and we actually can be on our best behavior in certain circumstances, but then we turn around and in the presence of some others, we then let our hair down and we maybe even criticize the actual people that we were being, exceptionally kind to, or we point out their faults to somebody else. He's saying here that if non-bodhisattvas were aware of that professed bodhisattva who looks good in this situation, but in this other situation is bad-mouthing people, those non-bodhisattvas are going to say, well, if that's what it is to be a bodhisattva, I want no part of it. Thank you very much. So he's pointing out that even as we are thinking we are bodhisattvas, we want to be careful to be on our awareness, highly alert awareness, whether or not we are in the position of behaving like a bodhisattva now, but not behaving like a bodhisattva somewhere else. We have this term in, at least in my Western culture, to let our hair down. No, it means you put your hair up for fancy and you go and you put on your special behavior when you go to church, you put on your special behavior when you go to a party. And then when you get home, you let your hair down and you can relax and be real you. And it's like totally acceptable. That's what we're supposed to do. When we're on our path, really, we want to put our hair up and not ever take it down. Because what we mean by putting our hair up is to be living according to these guidelines of avoiding the 10 virtues, trying to do the 10 positive, keeping my vowed behavior. And that's a 24/7 daily practice. It's not a just when we go to the Dharma center or just when we're in class. It's all the time, because our mind awareness seed planting is happening all the time. What use would we ever have for the fine qualities that he has? And he is a being of qualities. He lives in the savage jaws of the lower births. He has no compassion for living beings. Even worse, his delusion that he possesses higher qualities seems hoping to pollute the wise. So this is pointing out that when we pretend that we're bodhisattvas in certain circumstances, but then let our hair down and be ordinary when nobody's watching or other people are watching, that's not what we're talking about here, says Master Shantideva. It must happen, or it must have happened in his audience. I don't know. I don't think you guys are doing that. No matter what, we must see to it that all the good qualities which we have are spoken all over the world. We must, moreover, assure that what good qualities he may happen to have are known to no one at all. Again, he's pointing out what bodhisattvas don't do or shouldn't do. Our tendency when we know of someone with good qualities and we're jealous, we're not about to sing their praises to other people. But we try really hard to turn the conversation over to us so that we can tell people about our good qualities. Like he's talking about old selfish people, right? But pointing out the habit of doing so in this exchanging self and others, we would do the opposite. Even if we're jealous of the other person, we would make this effort to sing their praises. And how hard that would be if we really were jealous of somebody, to stand there with them in front of 6 other people and say how good this person was. When our ego is saying, yeah, but they also do this. Yeah, but, right? And just keep the yeah, but under wraps. It feels inauthentic. It feels like, no, that's not right. People need to know they've got those bad qualities. But do you see what we're planting when we let that go on? Any faults that we have must be hidden away. Offerings must be made to us, but not to him. We must gain with ease, and now the things we want, and we must win all honor, but not him. So again, our natural human ignorant behavior is, I don't want others to see my faults. I'm going to keep them hidden. But I'm very happy to point out somebody else's faults, thinking that it would help people to know. And he's saying, Bodhisattva is not about to do that. A Bodhisattva will point out their other faults and keep the other one's faults hidden. Right? Honor that other person instead of demanding honor for ourselves. It really is the practice of self-awareness to see how our ego is behaving and then decide, is that ego really working for my benefit or not? Because what it wants for me and what it leads me to want to do for me are mistaken about how what it wants can really come to me. When something wrong befalls him, all of us will watch a long time, feeling a kind of joy. We'll assure that he becomes a laughing stock for everyone, derided in all circles. Geshe-la pointed out that human tendency is to be interested about the details of when some unpleasant or harmful or bad thing is happening to somebody, right? We can't help but look or be interested. And then there's inside that some kind of pleasure taken in knowing it's not me. And then maybe we even tell the story about what we saw happening with some sense of entertaining people by it. Even in specific instances, maybe we're telling of something that happened at work where some guy at work, said something that seemed stupid and everybody laughed at them. and we retell the story to amuse people, right? Which makes the person that was involved in the story look bad. And we do it as humans so automatically, is why he's pointing it out. And this is from 700 AD. Humans have been doing this kind of stuff for a long time. And he's pointing out then those kind of subtle habitual ways that we behave as humans, that as bodhisattvas, we find now distasteful. We won't want to be in that situation when people are doing it. And we for sure won't be the one who's instigating it. And then the exchange happens when we decide, I won't participate in that. And whether we're brave enough to stand up amongst the group and say, I don't want to have a conversation like this, or whether we're brave enough to just change the subject, or if all we can do is excuse ourselves from the situation at any level that we can act differently than what we would have from our ignorant, perpetual way of life, will make the impact on our mind that we're wanting to impact, to grow our ability to have this bodhicitta experience. Mm. If you had at some point in the past undertaken this very action, then it's completely impossible that you'd be living like this in something so opposite to the excellent bliss of Buddhahood. So apparently the Mr. Kachik has said, wait a minute, Mr. Shantideva, I've been taking care of others my whole life. I became a monk when I was 7. Right? I've been serving the other monks, every day, constantly, my whole life. And I still see myself as lesser. I still am stuck here in the monastery. I don't never get enough to eat. I don't think your premise is correct. And Master Shantideva, like, harshly says to this person, okay, you've been taking care of other people, but your seeds that are still ripening as you not being the bliss of Buddhahood yet is because you have so many more seeds from putting self first. He said you just haven't done enough yet. Or we can say, maybe that person has said, I've been serving everybody since the get-go and I still don't have mine. That means they're misunderstanding the whole principle. They're misunderstanding and resenting being in the position of being the one that takes care of others instead of being in the position of being the one that takes care of others. Wow. It's the difference between I have to do it or I get to do it. And it's a difference in how our seeds are planted. If we had been cherishing others in the past, we would be forced to perceive our world as the excellent bliss of Buddhahood. When we've other cherished enough, we are Buddha, me, and Buddha paradise emanating. How much other cherishing do I have to do to make that? As much as it takes. So we can't say, this can't work because I've been other cherishing all my life and I'm still not Buddha. Right? He says, right. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. But do it with wisdom. Do it with understanding for why, so that we're eager to do it instead of resentful of doing it. All right, I've got a little bit more. Thank you. I'm just going to plug along. As such, you must become accustomed to thinking of others as you do of yourself. When you believe that a couple of drops of semen and blood belonging to someone else could ever be the person you call yourself. So he's pointing out here that we relate to our me as being somehow within this thing, our body. We talked about it before, making this distinction. I stop here and you start there. And so we are separate. And so we are antagonistic in some way. He's saying, look, this thing, our body, that we think defines our me, is actually something that is not even ours. Like, it originated from semen and blood of two other beings. And that came together, it propagated, it's been fed by food and water and some other things, and it perpetuates as this physical body that we then say is mine. But there's really nothing about it that's mine, is it? And yet, I hold it to be mine so carefully that I need to take care of it, even at the expense of others, even at the expense of caring for others. And if it isn't even something that is me, and neither is that other one something that is me, if I can take care of this other thing that's not me with so much care, why in the world do I insist that I can't take care of that other one that's just as much not me as this is? Do you see the subtlety of his argument? But it's his premise that says we can, in fact, come to consider any being that we are interacting with at the moment as much a me, right? As much a part of me as this body is a part of me, because we already do it with our own body. And all we need to do is expand our sense of self. And when we expand our sense of self to include that other part, then our self-cherishing includes that part. And it becomes not other cherishing at all. It's just self-cherishing. But now, right, it's bigger. It's really beautiful. And so let me command myself to work for every purpose, acting as if I were the least of servants. He is by his very nature wrong. We're talking about ourselves. Refuse to praise him for some small accidental good. See to it that any qualities which he does have are not detected by anyone else at all. Why wouldn't we want our good qualities to be detected by other people? Right? Our ego would glom onto it and go, see how much better I am. We can show our good qualities without needing to advertise them. It doesn't mean we hide them. We just behave naturally. We make it a point to praise others, compliment others, give to others, respect others, step in and do the work that needs doing. Tell people about the goodness of other people, right? Those 6 ways to bring a little happiness to the world. The more it is that you take steps to do what you must in order to care for this, the body of yours, the more it is that the body descends into nothing more than a state in which it can't bear pain at all. He goes into this argument. It's like when we think, oh, I want that promotion at work. And when I get that promotion at work, I need to upgrade my wardrobe. And then I need to go to those fancier restaurants, right? So I can keep up my persona. And gosh, I'll just have to do all of those things. He says, is it the body asking you to do all that? Does the body care if you have nicer clothes or that promotion? It's like, no, it's not the body at all. And yet we think we have to dress it in this certain way and feed it in this certain way and take care of it in this certain way. But really, all the body needs is a little food, some sleep, to be cleaned from time to time. That's all the body really needs. All the rest is our mental afflictions about our own self as it seems to be reflected to others through this physical body and what it looks like, what it needs, what it wears, etc. And as we meet the needs of the physical body, but then go on to pamper it, he says that physical body, we perceive that it needs more just to think it gets its needs met. The more we pamper it, the more it needs to be pampered. His argument here. But when you ask the body itself, does it care really about being pampered? No, it doesn't. So he says, he's pointing out, I guess, that our self-existent me ego is thinking that it's a valuable thing to be able to pamper this body. And he says, it's gonna come back to bite you on the butt because the older it gets, the more it needs. And that does seem to be true, even if I never pampered it. And the fall is such that even if you were able to get everything that was desirable on the surface of this planet, it would never quench the desire. Who then is it that could act to give you all you want? When they cannot, then this desire brings on mental afflictions and a lessening of the thought to reach total enlightenment. So as long as we are working for our own getting everything we want on this planet, misunderstanding where getting what we want actually comes from, then even when things do come to us, they will fail to satisfy us, and we will end up mentally afflicted about them, and it will perpetuate our misunderstanding of where happiness comes from, is what he's pointing out. He's pointing out that cycle of samsara and recognizing that making even a little bit of effort to just try to bring a little bit of happiness to others is in fact the cause that brings about the result of our own happiness, worldly and ultimate. We would ditch the effort of putting ourselves first and expand ourselves to include others and give all those others, all those things that we want for ourselves. Just give them. We think, well, if I give every donut that comes to me away, I never get to eat the donut. Does eating the donut bring the pleasure of eating a donut? We think it does, but it doesn't really, right? Because if it did, everybody would get the same pleasure from eating the same donut, and nobody gets the same pleasure as I do from the donut that I'm eating. It's unique to me. So if a donut can be pleasurable, it's only a result of when I gave something edible to someone else that they found pleasurable, right? So that means the real pleasure of a donut comes from feeding it to somebody else who likes donuts. So then what I would naturally do with any donut that came my way is to give it to somebody else. Well, I never get to eat donuts. Right. But look how much donut happiness I have made in the world. All I would need for donut happiness is to see a donut and hand it to somebody else. I don't ever need to eat it to have the happiness of donut. And it feels weird, like my own ego goes, no, but I want to eat it. But we'll get to the point where, no, we don't even want to eat it. We just want to give it away. Because the giving it away is more pleasurable than actually eating it. For donuts, for praise, for success, for any kind of little happiness. The excellent things that come to those who depend on nothing at all are absolutely endless. On the other hand is desire for the body, which grows forever, leaving you no other chance. He who has finished grasping to attractions has found the finest thing to possess at all. Doesn't mean we don't enjoy those attractive things. What we enjoy about them is sharing them with others, which is more enjoyable than partaking of it ourselves. Okay, we're almost done. Its final destination is always the same, the dust, meaning the body. On its own, it is immobile, dependent upon another for its motion. This body is a thing of filth and merciless too. Why then do you hold it to be yourself? Whether it lives or dies, it doesn't matter to me. What's the use of this machinery, the body? What's the difference between it and a lump of rock? Why is it that I can't stop my pride for it? In your worship of this body, you've piled up many sufferings, all of it meaninglessly. What's the use of this thing, no better than a piece of wood? Why the love and hate? Regardless of whether I continue to care for the body or whether the vultures come to feed upon it, it has no feelings of attachment or anger. Why then is it that I have this attachment myself? So he's spending a good long time on how it is that we blame our body for all these mental afflictions that we have. And so, in order to clear away the obstacles, I must collect my mind to avoid the path that errs. Always then I must place my thoughts in balanced meditation upon an object that is correct. The correct object for our meditation practice is this exchanging self and others. To keep exploring our resistance to the idea and keep exploring what it's like to try to practice it in our off-cushion time. And then try it on for size. In just those little low-level kindness, radiance ways that we already do. We're trying to add to our holding the door open for others the thought with bodhicitta, right? And all that means. Because I understand where happiness really comes from, I'll hold this door open for this being to make their life a little easier, to give them a little moment of happiness so that ultimately I can bring them to their Buddhahood someday. Bodhicitta. As you smile at the checkout lady, as you admire the bus driver, little things we already do. Crank up their power by holding our bodhicitta in mind. And it's a practice because we get on automatic pilot. But none of us are incapable. We simply need to prove to ourselves that it's the best selfish thing we can do is to care enough about our impact on others and try to be a positive, uplifting one, whether it appears to work or not. We keep trying, because what we get in the next moment of what we just did is not related to what we just did. It's a result of how we behaved before. So every moment's this opportunity to live with bodhicitta to the best of our ability, not perfectly. Perfect will come by the effort. There's nothing we can't learn to do by way of making effort to bring things to a habit, says Master Shantideva, leaving us poised for his next chapter on wisdom, the wisdom through which all of our deeds can become causes for our Buddhahood. So, ta-da! Well done. Thank you for hanging in there. So remember that person we wanted to be able to help. We have learned a lot. This class, this whole course, everything we've done up to this course, that we will use to help that other in that deep and ultimate way someday. And that's a great, great goodness. So please be happy with yourself and think of this goodness like a beautiful glowing gemstone you can hold in your hands. Recall your own precious holy beings. See how happy they are with you. Feel your gratitude to them, your reliance upon them. Ask them to please stay close, to continue to guide you, help you, inspire you. And then offer them this gemstone of goodness. See them accept it and bless it. And they carry it with them right back into your heart. See them there, feel them there. Their love, their compassion, their wisdom. It feels so good. We want to keep it forever. And so we know to share it by the power of the goodness that we've just done. May all beings complete the collection of merit and wisdom, and thus gain the two ultimate bodies that merit and wisdom make. So use those 3 long exhales to share this goodness with that one person, to share it with everyone you love, to share it with every existing being everywhere. See them all filled with loving kindness, filled with wisdom, and may it be so. So, hooray, thank you so much. Yes, Ale, thank you.
Thank you, teacher.
Yeah, thanks everybody for finishing this course. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I will see you Monday morning. You will teach me. Thank you. Okay, I'm stopping recording. Kongli, you had a question earlier. Did it get covered?
Just now I thought of not asking because, your truth is not feeling well. So is it okay with your truth now?
It comes and goes, yes.
Okay. Then I just actually this one the textbook why this book Shanti Deva write it in a way very similar to Nagarjuna. I mean the way the way the the book expressed in a way like just like asking question you know this why so very similar to Nagarjuna style. So I mean, is it very close to each other? I, no, I don't know.
I don't know. I surely Master Shantideva has studied Arya Nagarjuna.
Uh-huh.
And then when these amazing teachings are written, they write them in verse form. They're done in poetry,
Yes.
partly so that they're easier to memorize.
Uh-huh.
No, the actual Sanskrit is in like this meter that you can recite and learn
Uh-huh.
in that way. And then they also say, as wisdom awakens in us,
Uh-huh.
because of the state of our winds and mind, we we even speak in metaphors and analogies, and like our own words have more meaning to us, that you don't need as much explanation to say something. So
Uh-huh.
it's like you write things really succinctly, but it appears to stupid people like me that it's just cryptic and you can't understand. And that's why we then rely on the commentators who unpack it for us. But why that actually has to be that way, I don't know.
Oh, okay. Maybe I mean, true explanation is like, when our wisdom grow higher and higher, and then the words they're using are very similar to each other. Something like that.
Yeah,
No
that's
need to
good.
explain so much. And then you
Yeah,
just a few words can
a few words
uh
does the job.
yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
As we all get wise, right? I will be put out of business because I won't need to blah, 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 blah for hours
Oh,
to
okay. Instead of so many
explain it to
words, just
myself.
one or two words. Take care.
Yeah.
All okay. And this one, the self exchange with others, I think is quite interesting in a way that, through somebody else that, look I mean, through them, look at us and see what we need to practice and
Yeah.
what we need to improve,
Right.
something like that, isn't it?
Yes.
So, and then sometimes it is like, I mean, it's not all the times that like through others we can look at ourselves very clearly. So this one we need to do meditation to practice.
Yeah.
i- i-
It takes
Oh, okay,
both.
never mind. Yeah. Oh, okay. So never mind. This one need times to practice. Anyway,
Mm.
thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for having the chance to listen and really, I mean, very interesting. Yes. Thank you, teacher.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
I'm stopping recording. Would everybody please click off? I have some business to attend here.